Today is a super special day. I have one of my dearest friends, a woman that I truly look up to, somebody that's been in my life for a hot minute,
Yep.
uh, somebody that is probably more strong willed than me, someone that I look up to as a mother, a horsewoman, a wife, fitness, all like nothing ever gets Shay down. Shay Fisher Durfee, thank you for making time to be on my podcast today.
Oh my gosh, what a welcome. Thank you. Yes. We have known each other for a hot minute. And when we get into this podcast, it's going to be interesting for people to hear. But you were actually my idol about 15 years ago. The reason I am who I am today has a lot to do with you. So this is going to be fun.
Yes. So Shay, when she used to fly over from Australia, when you were 18, 19,
Mhm.
I don't
Yep.
know, young,
Young.
uh,
Young.
I would pick her up from the airport and she would stay at my house and drive Joel crazy and stay up all night and do her laundry and
Mhm.
sleep on my couch. And I'm still in the same house. I don't have a very big compartmentalized house. And we didn't have the guest house, which I'm in now. So Shay was right a part of the family. So,
That I was. I definitely was. It was a lot of fun. Definitely it was one of the safe places I went when I was between record deals in Nashville. I was able to come to Texas, and it was definitely a time I needed crazy fun people like you in my life.
she had this extreme weird talent. So if you're young, you're not going to really remember this, but Shay, back in the day when you text, it was on, remember the Nokia long phones?
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
And Shay could literally do a full conversation of texting under the table, not looking, and text people. And that's when you had to like each number was three, like A, B, C, and you had to
Mhm.
go 1, 2, 3, and then
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, that was um, yeah. Won't go to why I had to learn to do that, but yes, I definitely could text under the table.
I'll be like, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "I'm
Yeah.
texting." I'm like,
I had
how
to
did?
be polite and I had too much crap to get done, so I had to text under the table.
Yes, she was, and I'm thinking, how does she know what she's even texting? But that's one of her many, many, many talents. Yes, yes. So as today, Shay and I are both in the apparel business.
Mhm.
Um, we share a showroom in Dallas, which is God's way, ironic, whatever you want to say. But I absolutely love that me and Shay are in a showroom together because she will give me advice, I'll give her advice, and we're both probably being like, we already know that.
Mhm. Yes, when we had the opportunity to do a showroom together, it was almost like, I don't know, everything just came back full circle. But
Yes.
I do always say, I'm like, why Lorinda is so much cooler than me, y'all. Like she organizes all these parties and stuff in the showroom. I'm like, why are we doing this? Like, I'm here to work and she's got all this cool stuff going on. But we balance each other out. Like
Mhm.
you need a Lorinda in your life and you need a Shay in your life so we can just kind of meet in the middle.
Yes, yes. Well, my one of my other favorite things about Shay is her mom. And Shay's mother is one of my most favorite people. She is this incredible human being, selfless. She is one of the toughest cowgirls I know. But what I didn't know for all the years that I didn't know, Shay had a younger disabled sister. And Shay's mother never left her side for 18, 19 years.
Yep. 18
And
years.
and what was that like having what did that sister give to you? What was the gift?
Obviously, watching my parents growing up, they were very selfless. And it definitely made us growing up. I felt like we matured earlier. And we were very thankful for the small things in life. When you have somebody in your family who has a disability, my sister couldn't walk or talk. Her brain developed to a 3-month old. So, literally, my parents, like you said, for 18 years, it was like having a baby. She'd wake up several times a night, a bottle, all the stuff you would do with an infant, diapers. So, when I started touring, one or the other parent would have to come with me. They both couldn't come because just obviously the life of touring wasn't for my sister. But I will say we did travel the world. So my family lived in the US. We went to lots of different countries. Yes, it was harder for my parents to travel with my sister, but they didn't let something that was a little bit more complicated stop them from still reaching their dreams and goals and doing what they needed to do. Which that to me just showed that like times get tough and you can either choose to sit there and wallow in that, or you can get up and make better of the situation, which is what my parents did my whole life.
Yeah, I mean, both your parents were. I
Mhm.
always say when Shay is her boldness and people are like, they'll say something and I'm like, Shay is her father, but she's still her mother too, because
Yes.
Eddie is like, here I come.
Yes. I'm definitely a daddy's girl. Me and my dad did a lot together. Heck, I even rode junior bulls for a while because I knew my dad could help me win, and it was something me and my dad got to do together. So again, my dad was still riding bulls at 40, which is unheard of in the PBR. So he definitely was a great example as well of, I compare it getting back into music now, and I'm like, well, that's something my dad would have done. He would have been like, sure, let's do it. You're not too old. Go for it.
Well, I just feel like even because and Shay has an older brother and he's in the services, and I don't want to mess up exactly because he's a badass, so I don't want to mess that up.
Yes, we need a reality show. My brother is a very interesting character. Love him to pieces. But yes, he is a Royal Marine Commander / SAS, SBS, done the piracy, done all the stuff you can think of. He's pretty much qualified for. He now has decided he did private security in Iraq and the Ukraine recently. And now he's decided that my brother's actually really smart. You probably couldn't tell looking at him because he's like big and buff and tattoos, but he's actually studying robotics because he wants to do robotics as well now. So, I mean, why not? But we've always traveled and done stuff, so I think it was never anything for us to pack up and move to another country to follow our goals and dreams. And that's what he did when he moved to Britain to get in the forces.
Well, I just look at, a lot of people, I know it's said to me, so I know it's said to you. And people are like, how do you do that? Or how do you do this? Or how do you know you can do your dreams? And I mean, my parents always were like, if you want to do something, go do it. What's the worst that's going to happen? And I look at both of your mom and dad and the way you've been raised. For to sit in not doing something or not doing your best or just trying where that evolves into something else, I feel like that is like part of the analogy of your family or how you guys are made.
Yeah, I mean, I think definitely that's what's for me. It's important too with our kids, like implementing that at a young age, because that's you. You can say that you're going to do that when you're older in life, but if you don't see that as an example, or if you're not like that when you're younger, it's really hard to step into that when like the realness of the world comes along. But I mean, I've never let failure stop me from trying. I honestly, failure gives me more drive to keep trying. And also when, obviously, for example, when I was getting into the industry in Australia, we had just lived in the US and I had an American accent and I sounded different and I dressed different and I didn't win any talent quest. But I didn't be like, oh, I can't be a singer now because these 3 judges don't think I fit in. I actually took that and was like, well, this is actually great because they said I didn't win because I was too different, and different's what you want to be. So then I took that and found a way to captivate my difference to then build off that. And I think it's the same with everything in life. Like, who wants to be like everybody else? You're going to
Mm-hmm.
fail. It's just how you pick yourself up when you do fail.
Do you feel so? Shay is married to a world champion calf roper and a very driven man. So, do you feel you have matched your characteristics to your family, yourself, or just Tyson embodies what's important to you?
I think when we first started dating, I mean, my story is kind of different. I always dated like the bad boys and like just the complete opposite to Tyson. I met Tyson, and I even feel like I'd had this conversation with you, but like I just was lonely in Nashville, and I was like, man, I don't have a boyfriend, mom. And my mom was like, what about that really nice guy that's like persistent and just always there for you? And I knew that Tyson was the marrying type. So I was like, man, if I commit, I'm going to get married. And I just wasn't there. So I was a little bit, not mean. I just strung
Yeah,
him on for a long time. But we did
yeah.
end up getting married, so it worked in his interest. When we first started dating, I liked his characteristics of Tyson didn't come from anything. He grew up very humble beginnings, and everything he had to work for himself. So I knew that whether he had a lot at that time or not, that we could create a life together and it be successful. Now, even when you're a successful person like Tyson was, I still remember when we were young married, um, he knew he could make the NFL and that was his goals and dream. But I was like, hey, like we need to think bigger than that. You need to be like, you're going to win the world. And to start with, I'd be like, hey, what are you? Because I'd want him to say a world champion. Because I think if you speak things into existence, that's when it happens. And to start with, he couldn't. So I
Amen.
started putting sticky notes literally all around the house, on the mirror, on the fridge. Every time I'd be like, hey, every time you go into that sticky note, you have to say what it says. And it'd be like, I'm a world champion. I'm a badass, whatever it was. And like the more and more he did that, he could actually believe it could happen. And he still says today that helped him and changed him. But everybody's different. To me, I almost dreamed too big, not in a bad way, but I definitely dreamed too big. I mean, I'm going to be as big as it can be, and I'll get to here. Whereas a lot of people will dream not quite big enough. So if you got a dream, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, well, it was a fun dream to have.
Yes. Well, and I look at, we've had several conversations business wise, and, you've been with me all through Gypsy Soul and then just being home with the girls and then starting this brand. And in the midst of that, you have built a freaking empire. I mean, it is, I'm just so proud of her. And I will call Shay and kind of want to have a pity party, and she what I love is you always are honest. You're not afraid to tell people the truth, personally, anything. And it was so wonderful because to this day, when I've called you about Lucky Chuck and I'm like, it's just not happening, it's not turning, and then you're like, Lorinda, 5 years.
Mhm.
It took 5 years. Tyson even told me to quit, and now Shea Baby is how many stores are you in? I mean, it's just insane.
We're in a couple thousand now. We have a couple bigger counts that could double that. But I remember those conversations you're talking about because obviously, like, I only started these companies because I had no other option because my record label had shut down, and I started the belt buckle company to just pay bills so I could make a living. And was my first passion business? No. My first passion was music and the entertainment industry, but sometimes you have to do stuff to get you to the next point. So I started the belt buckle company, and then I realized, oh, I do actually really like business. And that's when I ventured into the Shea Baby, just the boots to start with. And like you just said, the first 5 years, I may have sold $30,000 worth of baby boots if I was lucky. And that was 5 years, and I worked my tail off. And it just felt like it was going nowhere because there just wasn't growth. And Tyson did. He's like, you really should spend your time focusing on something else you're gonna be able to build and make money on. And I just am not a quitter. And I was like, I'm not doing it. I'm not quitting it. And that's when I ventured into the clothing and it was still got some funny stories because the very first order we got, I was going to do the clothing just as retail on the website, just so I had extra stuff for people to buy. And then the very first customer we got was Cavender's. So we didn't even have a warehouse. My garage, all of our vehicles got parked outside, and we shipped 9,000 items out of our garage with no system in place. I'm pretty sure I was calling you like, how do I set
Yes.
up barcodes? I don't know what I'm doing. Um,
Yes.
and we winged it. It hailed, and all of our vehicles got hailed out. Tyson was thrilled with me because we had no garage to use. But it went from Cavender's to then Bucky's was our second account. And I was like, okay, I like probably need to hire some people and like figure this system out. So I don't have a business degree. I can sell ice to an Eskimo and I can learn very quickly, but I don't believe you have to come with a business degree. I feel like sometimes too much knowledge and study
Yes.
get you in a box and you can't think outside the box. You're limited. So I'm all about bringing people, even like people into our company that don't have degrees, that are just quick, smart thinkers. But yeah, it's just crazy how God did it, going from 30,000 a year to, a seven-figure company. Just, it really blows my mind. And it's not because of my talent. It's solely just because that's what God wanted me to do. And it's definitely, I've had to build a good team, and I suck at delegating, but it's really taught me a lot in myself, having to run a business and there's definitely been ups and downs. But that's just the fun part of it. And that's why I like Lucky Chuck Socks. When you first started it, you were so successful with Gypsy Soul. And then when you didn't have, and stay-at-home mom's an amazing job. Credit to everybody who does that. It's hard. But I
Yes.
was like, you're going to get back into something else because I know you do well. And I was like, and then you come up with this idea. You're like, socks. I'm like, oh, okay. Yep. Socks it is. And I was like, okay, I couldn't make that work, but I know it's going to be successful. And sure enough, you're so successful.
Yeah.
And it's just,
Yeah. No, it's so, who would have thought people, how rewarding it is? I mean, today, Sherry Survey sends me a text. Oh my gosh, I got my new socks and I'm so excited. My whole week's made. And I'm just like, I mean, in the text all day, I'll get from people
yeah,
that you never would have thought
would
socks
wait.
are going to, yeah, but it is a thing. Socks are a thing. Great socks. So,
It is a thing. Yeah. Yeah. So, no, it's really cool to see like you, because I watch your companies go from smaller like Gypsy Soul to you were in every store. And obviously I was like, my biggest goal back then was to be a Cruel Girl model. And your mother-in-law took photos and helped me achieve that goal. And, I wanted to be modeling for these companies. This is one story I like to tell is that I approached every Western company there was and offered to do a clothing line, a kids' clothing line with them. And every single one turned me down and said they were talking to other people. I would have been happy making 5% of a kids' clothing line and selling it through another brand, but none of them wanted to do it. So,
God had a way bigger plan for you.
but that's the thing. When you get no's, just take it as a good thing. Like that was a blessing in disguise. It might have been
Yes.
harder, but it was a blessing in disguise because somebody else would own Shea Baby now. So I did kind of chuckle sometimes. I'm like, hey,
No, I mean, the stories of people telling me no or telling, like, not taking what I was doing seriously. And
mhm.
now I look back and I'm like, you actually did me a favor. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
Thank you. I
for sure.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
So, talk to us about being mom,
Mhm.
wife, and business owner, and then three little ones running wild.
Yes, yes. Our house is always very chaotic in a great way. I've decided to pick my battles. Sometimes my kids will be riding scooters around the house or throwing volleyballs, and you know what? Your kids. So you definitely have to learn how to juggle, and I'm pretty good at juggling, and you definitely have to learn how to work late at night. I have always been the type of mother that when my kids get home from school, I like to shut off business and be with them for 4 or 5 hours a day. And then obviously, I feel like my job is to also be a great wife. So then I spend time with Tyson and do my wife duties. And then when he's asleep in bed, I then come back out and I start working. And people think it's kind of crazy, but it's blissful time for me to work
Yep.
late at night when everyone's asleep. But I have had to rearrange like my priority order, keeping family and all of that first, because I do know that I can get very consumed with one thing. So I do try my best at that. I do have, now I'm not going to lie, I don't like to call her a nanny, but I do have a lady that comes to the house that helps during the day with our youngest son, because I don't want to send him off yet because I still want him to be present. He's in and out of the office. I take lunch with him, but she's here if I have an important call or something going on, which I really like. That kind of helps me feel like keeps my mum guilt away that I'm very
Yep.
present in that. But it's there's a lot to juggle. Now we're in a different season of life. Back when I was just a mum and Tyson's wife, well, that was simple. I was the wife that cooked lunch every day for dinner, lunch every day for the boys, and I was that wife. But as you grow into business, your time's more limited. But it is important for me and Tyson to try and make time for a date night once a week or once every other week. Our kids do a lot with us, so we still get to travel and do a lot. I just bring them with us because I'm not ready to leave them home and go and venture the world without them, because they're the memories I have as a kid was traveling with my parents. And I think if you spank their butts enough and you teach them right, they're good when they're around other people. And so they're like, it's okay to take them places because they most of the time will act pretty good. Um, but it's definitely a juggling act. I'm not going to say it's easy. It's definitely not easy. Now Tyson's rodeoing again. I mean, he's home maybe 2 days a week. So obviously I'm super supportive. I think it's amazing because I think that if it makes you happy and you still feel like God wants you to do it great. So I'm 100% for it. But I'm still trying to juggle business, and now I'm back in the music industry. I have a lot more on my plate with the 3 kids at home.
Yes.
But you know what? I drink extra coffee and I make it work.
Well, and it's so crazy that, I mean, when the girls were your kids' age, it was the exact same thing. Picked them up from school, we came home, dinner, all family time. And
Hmm.
literally everybody went to bed, and I had an ottoman in my bedroom at that time. And I would open that ottoman, and it was angled away from the bed, and I would work till 2 in the morning, or I would get up at 2 in the morning and work till I had to
Yep.
get the girls up. And
Yeah.
that time it's like, what I loved is my family is all resting and sleeping and at peace.
Yep.
I know 100% nobody needs anything, and this is the time I get to do this extra work to benefit our family, or
Yeah.
whatever. So I totally get that bliss time, because it's
Mhm.
like this happy little home.
I know. So
Yeah.
quiet.
Yes.
I'll put meaningless TV or something on just to have a
Yes.
little bit of noise, because I actually work better with noise, because when it's
Yes.
too quiet, I'm like, okay, I'm not used to quiet. My house is normally never quiet.
Yes.
I just have to have a little bit of noise on, and then I work. But I mean, you get used to. I grew up in a rodeo family, and then I was touring singing. You get used to. I don't need sleep. I need 5 hours. I'm good to go. Like I
Yes.
just not. I'm not a sleeper. Never have been. So it works in my benefit.
No, I'm the same. People are like, I have to get 8 hours. And I'm like, I don't even know what that would be. I wouldn't sleep for a week.
No, I went to Vegas for a convention, like a market the other day, and I mean, I just can't sleep. I'm like, I went to bed at what would be 1 a.m. Texas time, and I was up by 5 a.m. Vegas time. Just your body just gets used to it. It's great.
Well, and when you're fit, I mean, you feed yourself such great nutrition, and you're
Mm,
so fit, you can ask so much more of your body and your brain. I
yeah.
know your fitness, I still got to join.
No, I just need to invite you. I keep saying I'm going to invite you, and I forget. Yes.
Yeah.
You know how that kind of eventuated is funny, because like everyone just sees the high. Like social media is so full of highs. Obviously, like that's no one's life, including mine, is how it looks on social media. I'll be the first to say it. But I'd always, it had been easy, like having praised and risen. I was like, what's the big deal? Why do people not just bounce right back? This is easy. But when I had Ty, and it wasn't easy, it was hard work. And he was like a year and a half old, and I was still 10 pounds heavier than I'd ever been. And obviously, my 10 pounds heavier isn't a big deal, but I just wasn't, and I just didn't feel great. I just was lacking, and I decided that, you know what, I'm going to try some stuff. I don't like dieting because I don't like being hungry, and then I know when you start eating again, then your body tries to store all the fats. I have a degree in personal training, so I understand that. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to start doing like more of an intermediate fasting, where I eat my dinner a bit earlier and don't eat till a bit later. And then I'm going to try some different workouts. And I started doing that, and I did like a 2-week body reset. And I was like, holy crap, that literally dropped me down 10 pounds. But I was just testing it. What was so interesting to me was I could then start to introduce the old foods, and I didn't gain the weight back. So it's like my body just needed a complete reset to like wake it up and be like, this is how we function again, hormonal, all of it. I mean, like, there's really no filter with me, you know that. But like, I mean, sex drive, Tyson's like, you should detox. This is great. Like I'm telling you, the stuff that it does for your body, like I felt 20 again. I literally went from feeling my age to feeling like 21. And I was like, wow, I feel amazing. And then I started telling some friends about it, and they would do it, and they were seeing the same results. So I was like, well, I'll start this fitness group. Obviously, I cap it. I don't want it too big, because I still want to be able to reply to messages and stuff. But seeing the results these women get make me so happy. And I've always said, it's not about what you have to lose, it's about what you have to gain. So it's not about
Yes.
the scale going down, it's about all the other stuff coming back, the confidence, sex drive, your body feeling, bikini weather, like all of that. So I don't know. I don't like saying let's lose, let's gain. But it's fun. It's been really good. And obviously I can tell, like, if I need to do it again about once a year, I need to kind of do it again just to feel good myself. But man, it's amazing that your body can change so significant. Even like my muscle tone changed when I reset. and I still eat plenty. I'm never hungry. I'm just eating the right foods.
No, I know because I'm in a showroom with her, and then I just let from now on, Shay. I'm in charge of the drinks, and Shay's in charge of the food.
No, because nobody will want to come in. There'll be a bunch of like boiled eggs and cheese, and I eat
No, it's perfect. I
high
love it.
protein, high fat is what I would say more so. So it's a low sugar, low carb, but I am never hungry, and I always feel like I have so much energy from it.
Well, I appreciate all the food you put in the showroom. So,
Okay.
and I do have to time out and say this. So she said, yeah, everything looks better on Facebook. Her body looks even
Oh,
more amazing in real life, especially her butt. I'm like, I need a Shea butt.
oh my gosh, you're hilarious.
No,
Make undies
what
undie model.
what I've been so excited about and what you've been working your tail off on, and I've got sneak peeks, and now you guys are getting to see everything. But Shay's music is incredible. I mean, I have a whole Shay list in my iTunes that I've had for years. And it's still, if it like mixes in with when we're in the car and it comes on, the girls will be like, Mom, is that Shay? I'm like, yes.
Oh my gosh. When I was 16, I literally was listening to myself the other day. I'm like, I forgot I sounded so bad when I was 16, but it worked. It's okay. The songs did
Yeah.
well. I don't care. But I'm
Yeah.
like so tempted to remove some of that stuff of iTunes. I'm like, this was so
No, you gotta, it's great.
the new music I'm excited for because I felt like obviously some of these songs have been there for 10 plus years when I was in actual songwriting, and I just had them there and I just knew I was like, they have to be released. Like this just sucks to keep them here. Obviously, I was like, do I pitch them to other artists to record or do I do it myself? And I knew that I still had a passion hidden there for music. So I hadn't quite pitched the songs yet because I didn't want to give them to somebody else. Um, but how I was going to get back into it made no sense to me. But I was like, you know what? The time will come and it'll feel right and it'll all just fall into place. And you know, for me, that was I got a great horse and I was competing and starting to do really well. My goal was actually to make the NFR this year. And then he got hurt last year, mid-year, fractured his hock, had to get a screw put in. So obviously he was out the rest of the season. So then that allowed me time to like sit back, reflect, what am I doing? And I was like, you know what? I think I need to do music. And our daughter had said to us one day, she's like, Mom, I've never seen you perform because she YouTubes it so cute, all my stuff. And I was like, well, you were just too young to remember. And she's like, well, why aren't you doing it? And I was like, well, I don't know. I guess like that's like us. She's like, well, why though? And I was like, well, that's a really good question. So then I started contacting some of my national people and I was like, you know what, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to have to do it and be like fully committed, like no backing out. So I got the 3 songs I decided that I wanted to release. One of them I actually co-wrote with Walker Hayes, which is the next one coming out, and he helped produce it, which is my favorite of the songs, I think. It's more like sexy cowgirl, but I just knew that that's not like the image I need to jump back into the industry with after being gone for 10 years. I thought I need to jump back in with more of a story that I can talk about, tell people like, you know, why I'm back here and doing what I'm doing. So I think we made the right choice, but I flew my Australian music director over from Australia and we shot 3 music videos in 2 weeks here in Texas. It was amazing. And I was like, you know what? I'm 3 songs in now. There's no backing out. So I have 3 music videos shot, and you'll have 2 more out this year. My single's doing really well in Australia. It's getting added to a lot of radio stations. So for those that don't know, when I was younger, I had some number 1 songs in Australia. So obviously now that I'm releasing music there again, it's easier. The industry know me. I'm not starting from scratch. I've just got a great team of a great PR and radio promotional team hired. I chose to do it independently this time, which is great because for 15 years I was with labels, told what to say, what to wear, what to do. You know, you're very much guided. That's not always a bad thing, but obviously I couldn't be who I wanted to be all the time. But this time around, I'm like, I can just do it my way. And I have high expectations because I am that way. I'm wired that way, but I also am okay with whatever the outcome is because I know that if I didn't get back into music, I would have said I should have and what if, and now I can say, well, I'm doing it. But you know what was most exciting for me was, and again, not saying this in any type of boastful way, but I, for so many years, I'd had like 30,000 followers on Instagram, which was fine. It was great. Posted my life. But when I started posting about music again and just more about life, I could see the trend of these followers coming over and people starting to care about what I was doing. I would get so many calls from friends like, "What are you doing?" I'm
Yeah,
like,
I asked you.
"No." I'm like, "I don't know. I'm like posting real stuff, I guess. I'm doing music." But I think I figured out. I think when I was releasing songs in Australia, when I was having number ones, it was MySpace. So a lot of those people, I was in that, I had gone out of the industry when Instagram came along. So a lot of those old fans didn't even know me, like know to find me on Instagram. So I think now that I'm back in the industry, a lot of my original fans are coming over, and that's why it's growing so fast. Because it just baffles me. I'm like 500,000 followers. I'm like, I don't even. I mean, I've got like 10 friends. Like, where are these people coming from? But that being said, it makes me realize that people want to see real. They like the idea of you're never too old or never too young if you have a
Yep.
dream to do it. So I feel confident that independently, if this is meant to work, it'll do great, and I'll keep doing it. I definitely have a whole album to release if I feel like it's the right timing. Um, I actually have a show coming up with Easton Corbin, which is exciting. So starting to get a few more shows. I have had to rehearse quite a few times with my band because I'm a little rusty, um, for my sake. And but it's exciting. It's a great time. Obviously, it just is one more complicated thing to throw into all we're doing as a family, but we're all on the same page with it. So that's really all that matters.
Well, you've grown up in all of that. I mean, it's not any different than the way this is your norm. But
Yeah.
what's so special to me in all of this, Shay, is there's a whole new light in you,
Hmm.
and it's apparent whether it's the new following, but there's something that lit back up in you. I mean, you're always positive, and you can mentally push through anything. But there truly is a light that's been lit in you. And the other thing is everything that doesn't work out for me or I would rather pass on a dream to let it land for my girls.
Hmm.
And so whether this goes huge or where this goes,
Hmm.
the impact you're making on your children
Yeah.
is priceless.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
amazing.
So when my record label shut down in Nashville, obviously I was bitter on the industry because I was like, literally, my opportunity was taken away, and I watched all my friends start to have number one songs, people I used to hang out with, and I went 2 years and I couldn't even watch the CMT Awards. I just couldn't do it. I didn't pick up my guitar for 2 or 3 years. Tyson's like, "Why don't you play the guitar?" I just didn't even want to answer. I'm like, I'm too busy. I just made an excuse, but I obviously was just bitter on it. But I realized it was because my identity was found in, to me, my identity was on how many number one songs I had and what I was doing in the music industry. So for a long time, when people would be like, "What are you doing?" I had a great way of being honest, but making it seem like I was more important than I was at the time because I felt like I had lost my complete identity when I was in between that stage. And then my identity shifted to Tyson's wife, and I was like, well, I'm going to be great at that. If I'm doing that, I'm going to make sure he achieves his goals. And then it was my identity shifted to the Shea Baby. But I just had to realize my identity wasn't in any of that. None of that matters in the end. It can all be taken away as quick as you get it. So when I realized that, I started to feel more internally happy with myself and not care about as much of, like, if people ask me what I'm doing, well, maybe I was doing nothing. Who cares? So I had to start to love myself again. And then I also realized that, like, my journey in music potentially could be for the sake of when one of my children become in the entertainment industry. I have seen the good and the bad. I know how to protect them and guide them. And I have no doubt that one of my girls will be in the entertainment industry, and I will be that mom manager. Um, and I will do a really damn good job at it.
Yeah. No, I just, there's so many things that you see big picture. It may not be right now, right? It's something that could be so beyond. And that's why, I have the same expectations like you do. I have ridiculous, people are like, how's market? And I'm like, market's actually really good, but it still didn't meet my expectations, and because my expectations are so beyond. Yes.
They should
But
be. Yep.
yeah, they should be. Um, So in your life right now, my first original question was going to be to close out our podcast, what would you give young girls, da 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 da. And I don't even know if that fits where you're at, because I feel like you speak so much broader. It could be a 60-year-old woman, it could be all, I feel like any age of woman, even a man,
Yeah.
could take what you've put and plugged into your life. And I feel so much what you said about when Gypsy Soul ended and I didn't have my company and it was pulled away from me, out of my control, taken. And the number one people would say the exact same thing. What are you doing now? And I would just be like, lockdown. Like I had to have a 12-page list of how important I still am. And instead of just saying, I'm hanging with my girls, I'm being
Yeah.
a mom.
Yeah.
Like,
Enjoying life.
why would I discredit that? Why would I not own what I truly knew God was calling me to do? It was, and I'm so happy I'm in that place now, and I see that in you. But what what is the one thing or 10 whatever?
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, you just hit it on the head. The first thing is like embracing what season of life you're in, good or bad. Because if you don't embrace that season, you're going to be miserable. So even if it's a crappiest season of your life, you can still find good in it. You can still find a reason that this is a great season of life. So I feel like you determine your own happiness, because you, like I said, you can be in some pretty crappy places and find something that's still great about it. So that's really important to me, is finding happiness in every situation, because whether it's marriage, whether it's school, business, it's going to get tough and it's going to suck at times. And you
Yes.
just have to figure out how to find the great part of it and push through, because it's just a season. Seasons come and go and they change. And obviously, you're going to look back one day and be like, that was actually a really great season. I just didn't let myself embrace it. So
Mhm.
that's important to me. Another thing is, obviously, I feel like everybody says it, but it's true, is just not being afraid of failure. Be okay with trying something that's out of your comfort zone, because that's how you push yourself. And that's how, I mean, if it doesn't work, like you said, what's the worst thing that'll happen? It flops and you go back to doing what you're doing. But it doesn't have to necessarily be something big. It could be something as small as, like, I want to get, if you're at college, I want to get 100% on this test. We'll work towards it. And if it doesn't happen when you tried your best, as long as you're trying your best, that's all that matters, in my opinion. Um, and that's what I teach my girls too. I mean, praise is very hard on herself, our daughter. And she's like, I only got a 92. I'm like, you know what? Did you try your best? She's like, yeah. I'm like, well, that's fine for me. You did great. So, obviously we just need to do our best. And I will say, like, we all struggle. None of us are perfect. My life isn't perfect. Your life isn't
No.
perfect. So don't compare what you see to other people, because it's not all roses. Like, everybody is going through struggles. And I think as women, especially, we see people's bodies online and how their marriages look so great and their kids are so perfect, but we don't see what happens behind the camera. We all
Yeah.
struggle, we all go through it. It's like me. It's like I was not in a great place when after time, because I just felt like I was, I just couldn't get my body back right. But everybody, all the eyes were looking on me, because I'd always been a fitness guru. And so I felt a lot of pressure on that as well. But no, of course, I'm not going to post that online, but I'm going to make sure back then I was posting the right angle, so you couldn't see the little bit of cellulite I had here, or the extra 10 pounds on my butt. So just embrace it, be real, and enjoy life, because it's short. You don't know what tomorrow holds. So
No. No.
live every
No.
day like it's your last.
Well, tell everyone how to follow your new music, how to follow you. Give us the lowdown on that before we
Okay, well, there's
get off
lots of
here.
options. Obviously, if you're a bit more old school, we have the website, shayfisher.com. It has all the music, all the stuff on there. If you're a visual person, YouTube, all my old music videos are on there, and the new stuff. But then I have social media. So if you're young and hip, or if you're old and hip and you like social media, um, Instagram and Facebook is kind of like where I'm at. I mean, if you see a TikTok, it's ridiculous, because I am not that cool. But Instagram and Facebook are good ways. I post a lot more behind the scenes there and about our life. Obviously, if you want to know more, Tyson's on social media too. Um, But yeah, just reach out. Obviously, I still check my DMs. So if people have questions or just like need advice, I'm not above replying to a message. So I'm here. I'm a girl's girl.
Yes, she is. And if she doesn't think you're doing something right, she'll damn sure tell you.
Yes, you and I. There's no filter between our relationship.
That's right. Well, Shay, thank you so much. And I can't wait to hear this next song when it comes out.
Thank you. Hey, the music video is even better. Yeah. Hot Cowboys at a bar. Like, come on, what more could you want?
Well, make sure you're following Shay Fisher. Well, see, she'll always be Shay Fisher to me. Shay Fisher Durfee. Sorry, Tyson. She's still always.
Yes. Shea Fisher on the music stuff. He don't care. He's confident enough.
That's
He's
right.
fine.
Well, have a great day.
Thanks for having me.